So thank you everyone for being here with us today with our another one, hopefully not the last one, workshop with Oracle for women-led startups. And today's topic is writing for social media. And our guest, our speaker is Eva McNeely, project manager at Generation Oracle with background in marketing, working with communications. So thank you, Eva, for sharing with us your experience. We will be having workshop with translation to Uzbek, so Barno will be helping with translation, and I'll just say something in Russian, and we can start. Всем большое спасибо, что подключились. Семинар по продвижению в социальных сетях, по текстам в социальных сетях, как общаться с аудиторией. Семинар будет на английском и узбекском языке. Барно будет переводить на узбекский. Спасибо.
Hammaga assalomu alaykum. Bugun seminarimizda Oracle'ni navbatdagi mutaxassisi bilan marketing va aloqalar bo'limida ishlovchi Eva McNeely xonim bilan ijtimoiy tarmoqlar va u yerda qanday qilib nimalar tekstlar yozish va odamlar bilan muloqot qilish bo'yicha gaplashib o'tamiz.
Thank you. Eva, over to you.
Great, thank you. Hi everyone. So I'm just going to share my screen here. Let me see. Great. Can you see that? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, great. Thank you. So welcome everyone. It is great to be here today to talk to you about writing for social media. As Elena said, my name is Eva and I am a project manager here at Oracle. I work on the Generation Oracle program and I work in communications, and I have worked in different kind of communication roles for the last 3 years.
Assalomu alaykum hammaga. Tanishtirib o'tishgandek, ismim Eva va Oracle Generation bo'limida, kompaniyasining Generation bo'limida loyiha boshqaruvchisi bo'lib faoliyat yuritaman va 3 yildan buyon insonlar bilan aloqalar bo'limida va ijtimoiy tarmoqlar bo'yicha ishlayman.
Great. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about writing for social media. Now, there are lots of different types of social media, lots of different platforms, but hopefully we can learn something today and how to kind of get your message across effectively on the different platforms that we can use.
Bugun sizlar bilan ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda yozish bo'yicha gaplashamiz va turli xil ijtimoiy tarmoqlar bor. Ularni hammamiz ishlatamiz va ularni qanday qilib to'g'ri muloqot qilish bo'yicha gaplashamiz.
Great. And before we start, if there is a way to use the reaction buttons, if you could use the reaction buttons, just to let me know if you want to raise your hand, just to let me know if you have ever published anything on social media before. I'd love to know.
O'zimizni his-tuyg'ularimizni bildiruvchi tugmalar bor pastda. Agar dars davomida shularni bosib o'tsanglar yo savolinglar bo'lsa chatga yozsanglar va muloqotda bo'lsak xursand bo'lar edim.
Okay, great. So some people who've not published yet, which is great, and we'll go through some tips today.
Bugun sizlar bilan o'sha bir nechta qo'llanmalar bilan ko'rib chiqamiz ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda yozish bo'yicha.
Great. Now there are, this isn't, I suppose, an exact science, but there are kind of a few different types of users on social media platforms. There are the lurkers, the contributors, and the creators, and I'll go through what each of them mean.
Ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda turli xil odamlar foydalanadi. Biz ularni foydalanish usuliga qarab turib quyidagi guruhlarga bo'lamiz. Ya'ni yaratuvchilar, faol ishtirok etuvchilar va kuzatuvchilarga.
Great. So the lurkers, they make up about 90% of the people who use social media. They are the large majority of users, and they kind of usually just scroll or lurk through social media without really creating, sharing, commenting, or interacting with the content at all.
lurklar, ya'ni bular kuzatuvchilar, bular foydalanuvchilarning asosan 90% shunday insonlarga, guruhlarga kiradi. Bular hech narsa qilmaydi u yerda ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda, faqat kuzatib, sahifalarni u yerdan bu yerga siljitib, tomosha qilish bilan shug'ullanishadi asosan. Lekin o'zi hech qayerda hech narsa yozmaydi va o'zi ham post qilmaydi.
Next up is the contributors. That makes up about 9% of social media users. Now, unlike the lurkers, these groups are they actively contribute in some way. They comment on posts, or they like them or share them in their social circles. And they also add their own commentary to when they're reposting as well.
Hissa qo'shuvchilar, bular ya'ni 9% ni tashkil etib, ular kimdir yozgan bosgan postlarga o'zlarini fikrini bildirishlari mumkin yoki qandaydir yoqtirgan belgisini yo boshqa turli xil o'zlarini nimalarini his-tuyg'ularini namoyish qilishlari mumkin.
And then there is the 1%. This is the creators. They are the smallest group, and they are the ones that are actively creating and writing new content. They have a large number of followers, and they are recognized also in the industry that they are writing about.
Va oxirgi eng kichik guruhimiz, ya'ni 1% ni tashkil etuvchi guruh, bular ijro etuvchilar, asosiy yaratuvchilar. Bu yaratuvchilar guruhi juda ham kamchilikni tashkil etgani bilan bularning orqasidan kuzatuvchilari, ularni o'quvchi insonlar ko'p bo'ladi va u turli xil mavzularda yangi narsalarni chop etib, insonlarni o'zlarining orqasidan ergashtira oladilar.
Okay. Now, why should we have a social media presence, and why is it important? So this is just a kind of some research that has been done. It's important that with an integrated personal and professional profile, you can connect with people who have maybe shared interests and hobbies as you do, and it also helps start a conversation. So you might develop a conversation with a stranger that you usually wouldn't have. And it also builds successful relationships and creates a bond over something or something that you both are interested in.
Insonlar nimaga ijtimoiy tarmoqlardan foydalanadiganga bunga turli xil sabablar bor ekan. Tadqiqotlar bo'yicha shu narsa aniqlanganki, odamlar o'zlari qiziqqan narsalar bo'yicha odamlar boshqa shu sohada ishlovchi yoki shu soha bilan qiziquvchi insonlar bilan ijtimoiy tarmoqlar orqali bog'lanadilar. Ularda umumiy shug'ullanuvchi mashg'ulotlari yoki qandaydir bir mavzulari bo'lishi mumkin. Shu orqali bular aloqalarni rivojlanib, ular bilan tanishib, o'z ustida ham ishlashi va rivojlanishi mumkin.
And I suppose in order to create effective content or attractive content, you have to understand what attracts people to your content. So you must understand what content works and what doesn't work.
Odam muvaffaqiyatli kontent yaratishda nima qilishimiz kerak? Ya'ni olomonni o'zimizga jalb qilish uchun. Shunda biz bilishimiz kerak, nimalar insonlarga yaxshi ta'sir qiladi, nimalar esa umuman ta'sir qilmaydi. Shularni ajratib bilishimiz kerak.
So, what to write about? These are just some quick tips if you're stuck to think of something to write about. Talk about what you know. That can be the most effective way to draw a crowd because you're writing about what you're familiar with.
Xo'sh, endi nimalar haqida yozishimiz kerak? Bu haqida gaplashadigan bo'lsak, sizlar o'zingizlar yaxshi biladigan narsalar haqida gapiringlar, yozinglar.
Go for a walk, get outside and take in some inspiration from the outside world. This can often lead to a spark of inspiration that you might not have gotten while stuck inside looking at your computer screen.
Tashqariga chiqinglar, biroz aylaninglar va tashqarida nima sizlarga yoqdi va sizni ruhlantirdi. Shu narsani boshqalar bilan ulashinglar. Bu ham uyda ichida xonaning ichida o'tirgandan ko'ra sizga yangi bir kontentni tashkil qilib beradi.
Talking to others, hearing their stories, hearing other people's experiences will help to get some inspiration for stories that you may like to write about.
Boshqalar bilan gaplashish, ular bilan muloqot qilish ham sizga qandaydir bir mavzuda qiziqarli hikoyani yozishga qandaydir yordam berishi mumkin.
It's important also to keep on track of trending topics. So a good way to get interested in a conversation or to get interaction is to comment on something that is trending and popular at the moment.
hozirgi paytda ko'pchilikni qiziqishida, e'tiborida bo'lgan mavzular bo'yicha yozish yoki o'shalar bo'yicha boshqa postlarda komment qilish ham, ya'ni o'zingizni izohingizni qoldirish ham juda ham muvaffaqiyatli yaxshi natija berishi mumkin.
A really good way to create some effective content is to include media, so imagery or anything that can catch attention of your reader. So a really great way of doing this is having some video in your content, and native video is best, which means that you create the content and you upload it yourself rather than sharing somebody else's.
Yana bir eng yaxshi muvaffaqiyatli usullardan biri bu video tasvirga olish ekan. Ya'ni boshqalar olgan tasvirni o'zingiz nimangizda tarqatgandan ko'ra, o'zingiz olgan haqiqiy videoni joylasangiz va uni boshqalar bilan ulashsangiz, bu juda ham ta'sirli va e'tiborni jalb qiladigan bo'lar ekan.
And I would love to know if anyone here has created a video before or recorded a video even on their iPhone, which can work as well.
Bilmoqchiman, shular oranglarda videoni ulashib, uni natijalari bilan tanishgan odamlar bormi? Natijalariga erishgan.
So you can use the reaction buttons to let me know.
Ta'sir tugmachalarini bosishingiz mumkin, qo'linglarni ko'tarish yoki ko'rsatish xohlasanglar chatda yozinglar. Videolarni ulashganinglarda qanaqa natijalar bo'lgan sizlarda?
No, okay. Some people have.
Hech kim ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda, Facebooklarda, Instagramlarda kichik videolar ulashmaganman.
Some good opportunities to start using video and work it into your content. Okay. Next up. Going backwards. So, a fun fact: 100% of people love percentages. So, I'm having to.
Yeah, there is some.
There.
Yeah, there is a
So by
comment. Sorry, there is a comment in the chat, in the question.
Okay. Thank you.
How can we refuse it, or if our partner talks about the topic that is not of interest to us while we are communicating?
Yes, that's a great question. I think it's really important to, I suppose, compromise in those situations. And although something might not be of interest to you, it's important to interact with it sometimes, to share some views on it, and then you can ask people to do the same on your content.
O'zingizga qiziqmagan mavzu bo'yicha gaplashganda nima qilishimiz kerak deb savol berdilar. Qanday qilib to'xtatish mumkin deganga biroz suhbatlashib turib, keyin to'xtatsangiz bo'ladi degan mavzuda javob berdilar.
Great. So yes, people love percentages, and by including percentages, you come across as knowledgeable and well informed about the topic you're talking about. Just make sure that your percentages are accurate and that they come from a good source.
Shu narsa aniq ekanki, odamlar foizlarni yaxshi ko'rar ekan. Ya'ni foizlarni siz o'zingizni tekstingizga qo'yish orqali ularni ishonchliroq va qandaydir isbotlagan holda taqdim etayotgan bo'lib ko'rinar ekansiz.
So, how to give people reasons to engage. So we want to give people a reason why they would interact with our content online. And an intriguing and relevant headline is really critical if you want to if you want people to react to your posts.
Qanday qilib odamlarni bizni taqdim etayotgan postlarimizga o'zini fikrini bildirishga jalb qilishimiz mumkin. Ya'ni qandaydir ularni qiziqtiradigan va haligi sarlavhasini e'tiborni jalb qiladigan qilib, odamlarga yetib boradigan qilib nima qilishimiz kerak, post qilishimiz kerak ekan.
So, a strong call to action, CTA means call to action, and that means you should have something in your post that you want the readers to do as a result of reading your content.
Ya'ni kuchli CTA, ya'ni harakatga chaqiriq, kuchli harakatga chaqiriq. Odamlarni qandaydir so'zlar bilan sizni postingizga e'tibor, tekstingizga e'tibor berishiga chaqirishingiz mumkin ekan. Bunday so'zlarni hammamiz yaxshi bilamiz va ko'p uchratamiz. Endi bundan buyoq ham shu so'zlarga e'tibor berib, o'zingizlar foydalanishga harakat qilinglar.
Some top tips that I have here. The top one would be authentic. So be true to yourself in what you're writing about. Don't try and come across as somebody that you are not online, as it won't feel authentic and real.
Haqiqiy o'zinglar qanday bo'lsanglar, shundaylikcha ko'rininglar ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda. Masalan, ba'zilar boshqacha ko'rinish yaratishga harakat qilishadi. Unday qilmanglar. Qanday bo'lsanglar, shundaylikcha imij yaratinglar.
Be sure to have an opinion on something. So if you are reading something that is trending at the moment, make sure that you have an opinion on it that you can share and add your voice to the conversation that's already happening.
O'zingizlarda fikringlar bo'lishi kerak. Masalan, qandaydir suhbat ketayotgan bo'lsa, siz o'zingizni fikringizni qo'shib komment yozish uchun o'sha mavzu bo'yicha fikringiz bo'lishi kerak.
Use personal anecdotes. So anecdotes are stories. So use personal experience and stories to get your message across, because that becomes way more authentic when you're talking about a certain topic.
Qandaydir bir mavzuda suhbatlashayotgan paytda o'zingizni shaxsiy anekdotlaringizni yoki hikoyalaringizni qo'shsangiz, bu juda ham haqiqiy va haqqoniy ko'rinadi.
Create insights and share your knowledge. So this means looking into something, researching, and then sharing what you've researched, or share some experience that you have from the past. And this will add your voice to the conversation and make people believe what you're saying and want to hear more.
Qandaydir bir tushunchalarni o'zingizni nimangizga postingizga qo'shib va qandaydir bir bilimni ulashsangiz, odamlarning sizga bo'lgan ishonchi ortadi va bu bilan siz o'zingiz bilimliligingizni, sizni fikringizga eshitish muhimligini ko'rsatadi bu narsa.
Make sure that your post has a clear structure, so a clear introduction, and explain what you're going to outline within the post itself.
E'tibor beringlar, tarkibi, sizlarning postinglar tarkibi aniq bir shaklga ega bo'lishi kerak, ya'ni bir kirish qismi bo'lishi kerak va qolgan qismi ham o'sha nimani insonlarga yetkazmoqchi ekanligingizni aniq ko'rsata olish kerak, izoh eta olish kerak.
Make sure to avoid jargons. That means kind of popular words that are kind of slang words and acronyms. So make sure that you are using the full word and not reduced or reductions of words that are not widely known.
Qandaydir bir jargonlar, qisqartma so'zlarni ishlatmaslikka harakat qilinglar o'zingizlarda tekstlaringlarda. Chunki uni ko'pchilik tushunmay qolishi mumkin. Faqat siz o'zingiz hududingizga, o'zingiz yashash joyingizga xos bo'lgan so'zlar bo'lishi mumkin. Bularni ishlatmanglar.
Write in a way that starts a conversation. So a great way of doing this is asking some questions at the end of your post to encourage people to reply to you in their post or in the comments below.
Shunday post qilinglarki, ya'ni oxirida sizlar qandaydir savol berishinglar mumkin. Bu bilan siz insonlarni suhbatlashishga, ya'ni sizni postingizga javob yozishga chaqirgan bo'lasiz. Ya'ni suhbat tariqasida tashkil etgan bo'lasiz.
Make sure to plan your content ahead and be consistent. So it's really important that if you want to build up your online content or your online presence, that you need a structure and that you need to be constantly posting something. So not to go long gaps without posting anything, or because people will forget.
O'zingiz nimalarni chop etmoqchiligingiz haqida oldindan rejalashtiring va sizni post qilayotgan narsalaringiz, mavzulari ketma-ketligi izchil bo'lishi kerak va bir-biri bilan bog'liq, shuningdek orasi bir xil qandaydir masofada bo'lishi kerak. Chunki odamlar sizni esdan chiqarib olmasliklari uchun.
So, a great way to create your social media strategy is to ask these following questions.
Eng ajoyib ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda strategiyasini yaratishda ushbu savollar juda ham yordam beradi.
So what differentiates you? Who's your audience? What your goals are? How will you execute your strategy? And when will you communicate with your audience?
Bu savollar quyidagilar, ya'ni nima sizni boshqalardan o'zgacha qilib ko'rsatadi? Sizning auditoriyangiz kim? Va sizning maqsadingiz nima ushbu postlarni chop etishdan? Qanday qilib buni amalga oshirasiz? Va qachon siz muloqotga kirishasiz?
So the first one here, what differentiates you? So that means, what is your elevator pitch? Does anyone know what an elevator pitch is? Can anyone guess or?
Masalan, birinchi savolimiz, nima sizni o'zgacha qilib ko'rsatadi? Masalan, sizning elevator pitchingiz nima? Elevator pitch nimaligini bilasizlarmi? Elevator pitch haqida tushunchaga egamisizlar? Buni tushuntirib ketamiz, agar tushuncha bo'lmasa. Elevator pitch bo'yicha pastda reaksiyalar knopkasi bor. U yerdan sizlar qo'linglarni ko'tarib yoki qandaydir bir qanday qilib nimani tushunayotganlar, qanday qilib nimani his qilayotganlar ko'rsatishinglar mumkin yoki chatga yozishinglar mumkin yoki bo'lmasa mikrofonni yoqqan holda o'zingizlarning fikringlarni bildirishinglar mumkin. Elevator pitch haqida tushuncha bormi? We can,
people are not familiar with the term. Yeah, okay. So an elevator pitch is basically a very short speech. It could be 30 seconds on what your offering is. So what makes you unique and what the content is that you want to share on social media.
Elevator pitch bu 30 daqiqadagi kichkina taqdimot desa bo'ladi. Bunda siz nimaligingiz, kimligingiz, nimani taqdim qilmoqchiligingiz haqida tushuncha beradi. Elevator so'zi, ya'ni bu lift so'zidan olingan, liftdagi suhbatga o'xshash kichik bir taqdimot.
It's really important as well to gather some testimonials from people that you have worked with before, or people that have read your content. So if that is a comment on a blog post or on a LinkedIn post, it's great to gather those in order to strengthen your strategy.
Siz nimalarni ko'rsatmoqchiligingizni birorta mavzuni berayotganda qandaydir bir guvohliklarni yig'gan holda, ularni postingizga qo'shgan holda bersangiz, bu juda ham ishonchli va professional tarzda ko'rinadi.
And make sure to think about what makes you unique, what makes you stand out, because that's the thing that's going to get people interested in to read your content.
Yana shunga e'tibor beringlar, nima sizni o'zgacha qilib ko'rsatadi? Nima sizni o'zgacha qilib insonlarni o'zingiz orqangizdan ergashtirishga chorlaydi? Shularga e'tibor beringlar va buni yaratishga harakat qilinglar.
And a good social media strategy is all about telling a really compelling story. So whether that be about yourself or about what you're trying to get across, or maybe it could be a product you're trying to sell, it's always important to create a story around it to make people understand it and relate to it a bit better.
Judayam jozibali hikoya yasash orqali siz o'zingizni nima qilmoqchiligingizni, qanday nimani insonlarga fikrni yetkazmoqchiligingizni yo nima bilan shug'ullanmoqchiligingizni ularga osonroq qilib, tushunarliroq tilda yetkazib beradi.
Great, and I'm not sure if we have comments or questions in the chat.
Yeah, they're writing about
the elevator pitch.
Elevator pitch. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, what is your audience? So you need to think about, where do they hang out online? So that means what websites they visit, what social media do they interact with, because they're different. There could be different groups of people that that use different social media outlets. So you need to think about that when you're thinking about your audience.
Kim sizning auditoriyangiz? Buni yaxshi bilishingiz kerak va qayerda ular ko'proq faoliyat bo'lishadi va qanday guruhlarga kiradi bular, qanday bosmalarni o'qishadi, shularni bilishingiz kerak. Ya'ni sizni o'quvchilaringiz, tekstlaringiz o'quvchi insonlar haqida ma'lumotga ega bo'lishingiz kerak.
Think about what associations or clubs or organizations they belong to, and think about what publications they already read that might be related to your content.
Qanday nimalarda guruhlarda ular bor va qanday publikatsiyalarni, ya'ni bosmalarni ular o'qishadi. Shularni bilsangiz, shunga o'xshatib siz ham kontent yaratishingiz mumkin bo'ladi o'zingiz.
So you need to think then about what your goals are for your social media presence. Is it to establish your brand? Is it to increase visibility and get more people to see the stuff that you're publishing, or is it to generate traffic to your website or your social media platform?
Sizning maqsadingiz nima? Ya'ni postlarni yaratishdan Maqsadingiz nima? Ya'ni o'zingizni brendingizni tashkil qilmoqchimisiz yoki ko'rinishni chiroyli qilmoqchimisiz yoki trafikni oshirib yaratmoqchimisiz? Ya'ni veb saytingizga yo ijtimoiy tarmog'ingizga odamlarni jalb qilib shuni ko'rsatish uchun. Maqsadingiz nima? Buni aniq bilishingiz kerak.
Then you need to think about how you will execute your strategy. So what do you need to learn in order to execute it effectively? What tools do you need? Who should be responsible for the different actions, and how will you measure success?
Ushbu strategiyangizni siz qanday qilib amalga oshirasiz? Buning uchun siz nimalarni o'rganishingiz kerak va qanday usullardan usullar siz uchun muhim va kim javobgar bu uchun? Qanday siz o'lchaysiz shu natijalaringizni, qilgan ishlaringizni?
Next, you need to think about when you're going to communicate with your audience. So what social networks will you use to communicate with them? How often are you going to post? And think about it practically in relation to how much time you have in your own life. And then will you use visuals or video, and how will you create those?
Qachon siz muloqotga kirasiz? Bu strategiyangiz qanaqa? Ya'ni qaysi ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda muloqotga kirasiz? Qanchalik muddat oralig'ida siz post qilmoqchisiz va qaysi ko'zga ko'rinarlik nimalar bilan va videolar, turli xil ko'rgazmalar bilan foydalanasiz? Ularni siz aniq bilishingiz kerak va oldindan rejalashtirishingiz kerak.
When you're thinking about creating a content plan, there are a few things you need to consider. You need to consider what you want to share, what the objective of sharing that is, how you're going to measure that, and what are the actions to get you to create this content plan.
Content rejamiz, ya'ni tarkibi, biz chop etmoqchi bo'lgan narsalarimiz tarkibi nimalardan iborat bo'lishi kerak va nimalarga e'tibor berishimiz kerak. Biz aniq bilishimiz kerak, nimani biz ulashmoqchimiz va qanday maqsadda. Uchinchisi, qanday qilib biz o'lchaymiz buni natijasini va qanday harakatlar kerak bo'ladi buni amalga oshirish uchun.
So I'm going to show you some some tips to creating winning content.
Ya'ni muvaffaqiyatli kontentni yaratish uchun nimalar qilish kerakligini xoslar bilan aytib gaplashamiz.
So 99% of the best content includes some video, and if you have an image in your post, you are 75% more likely to get more followers or more of an audience looking at it, as the visual will catch people's attention.
Muvaffaqiyatli kontentni tarkiblari quyidagilardan iborat ekan, ya'ni 99% bu videolar ekan. Ya'ni siz videolarni qanchalik ko'proq taqdim etsangiz, shunchalik ko'p ta'sirli bo'lar ekan. Va 75% albatta qandaydir rasmlar va ko'rgazmalik narsalarni qo'shishingiz. Ular oddiy tekstlardan ko'ra bu juda ham qiziqarli va e'tiborni jalb etuvchi bo'lar ekan.
So let's look at some winning content for LinkedIn.
Endi LinkedInda qanday qilib e'tiborni jalb qilish haqida gaplashamiz.
LinkedIn publishing is divided into two main posts. There's the long form posts, which are articles, and there are the short form posts, which are regular posts.
LinkedIn postlar asosan ikki xil turga bo'linar ekan, ya'ni uzun katta nimalar artikellar ekan, ya'ni bular nima deydi, ilmiy maqolalar va ikkinchisi qisqa postlar, kichik shakldagi postlar.
So the long form articles help you to create deep dives onto topics that matter to you, and you can watch your engagement then build in the comments. And short form or posts enables you to share articles and images and other content that is relevant to your followers.
Uzun o'lchamdagi maqolalar sizga o'sha qandaydir mavzu bo'yicha chuqurroq uni o'rganishga, chuqurroq uni muhokama qilishga va odamlarni o'sha mavzuni muhokama qilib, o'zingizni g'oyangizni yana ham rivojlantirib, fikringizni o'stirishingizga sababchi bo'lar ekan.
So This is an example of some winning content. It had an image of a little a mini arcade game, Space Invaders. I'm not sure if anyone knows that, but it got a lot of interaction because of it was so eye-catching and so different.
Sizlarga namuna sifatida muvaffaqiyatli kontentni ko'rsatyapman. Ya'ni bu mashhur bir o'yin rasmi va bu odamlarning ko'ziga yoqadigan bo'lgani uchun juda ko'p e'tiborni o'ziga jalb qilgan.
So I want to talk a little bit about blogging, because it is a really interesting hobby, and it can lead to some really interesting outcomes as well. So blogging is a way, I like to think of it as a way to inspire, empower and educate the world.
Endi blogging haqida siz bilan gaplashamiz. Ya'ni blogging bu juda ham sevimli mashg'ulot bo'lib, o'zim uchun ham masalan bu nima uchun kerak bo'ladi? Odamlarni e'tiborini jalb qilishga, ularni ruhlantirishga, qandaydir kuchaytirishga va jamiyatga ta'lim ulashishga sababchi bo'lgan yo'nalishlardan biri blogging.
So some winning blogging content. This has the engaging imagery, and this also has a really interesting and eye-catching headline as well.
Bu muvaffaqiyatli nimani kontentni ko'rinishi misoli sizlar uchun, masalan bu yerda juda ham chiroyli rasm ko'rsatilgan va buning asosiy sarlavhasi, mavzusi ham e'tiborni jalb qiladigan qiziqarli.
And this is the article itself. There's a few things to point out here as I'm reading through it. The author uses tips, lists, and they are clearly outlined to break up the body of text. He has a conversational tone, and the sentence lengths are varied. So there are some short sentences and some long sentences, and it breaks up the flow.
Endi sizlarga bir muvaffaqiyatli maqolani namunasini haqida gapirib beraman. Ya'ni bu yerda bo'limlar ajratilgan bir-biriga va har bitta bo'lim nima haqida gaplashilganligi kichkina qilib, oson qilib tushunarli qilib ajratib ko'rsatilgan. Va bu yerdagi tekstlar uzun va qisqa gaplardan iborat va bir-biri bilan o'zaro mazmunan bog'liq. Keyin shunday qilib ko'rinishda berilganki, ya'ni siz bilan suhbatlashayotgandaqa ko'rinadi buni o'qiganingizda.
So a few things to think about before you begin writing a blog post. Pick a point of view and make sure you stick to it. So don't be changing from different views throughout the piece, and map it out. So plan out your paragraphs.
Boshlashdan oldin siz nima qilishingiz kerak? Ya'ni nimani olmoqchiligingizni, qaysi mavzuni olmoqchiligingizni olishingiz kerak va buni xarita sifatida sizni qilmoqchi bo'lgan ishlaringizni qadamma-qadam yozib olishingiz kerak.
It's a great way to start is to brainstorm using a whiteboard, or you can use your whiteboard on Zoom, but definitely make sure that you plan out what you're going to say in each section of the blog post.
Postlarni nima qilganda, rejalashtirganda, ya'ni doskadan ham foydalanishingiz mumkin yoki kompyuterdagi doskadan. Bu yerda siz fikrlaringizni hammasini jamlagan holda qog'ozga yozing. Nimalar qilmoqchisiz va bularni rejalashtirishga, aniq bir rejaga qo'yishga harakat qiling.
It's really important that your blog post has a very clear beginning, middle, and a conclusion. And I'm going to go through what each section includes, what's included in each of these sections now.
Blogdagi postlaringiz sizni quyidagi tarkibda bo'lishi kerak albatta. Bu ya'ni kirish qismi va asosiy qismi va xulosasi.
So it's really important in your beginning to have a strong introduction. This is a great place to include interesting facts, figures, or quotes. This can be a catchy hook to get people to read more.
Kirish qismi bu asosiy qismlardan biri. Bu o'ziga tarkibiga asosiy faktlarni olish kerak va turli xil shakllarni, shuningdek qiziqarli maqolga o'xshash so'zlarni. Buni asosiy maqsadi e'tiborni jalb qilib, butun tekstni o'qishga majbur qilish.
Throughout the body of the article, it's important to keep one point per paragraph to keep the flow natural, and vary the sentence length as I showed in the earlier example.
Keyin asosiy qismimizda esa shu narsaga e'tibor berishimiz kerak, ya'ni bitta paragrafga biz bitta fikrni qo'yishimiz kerak va ular bir-biri bilan qandaydir ulangan, mazmunan ketma-ketlikda bo'lishi kerak. Undan tashqari sizni nimalaringiz, gaplaringiz hajm jihatdan uzun qisqaligi bilan bir-biri bilan farq qilib turishi kerak.
For the conclusion, you don't really want to add in anything new. You just want to summarize what you said and include a call to action of what people can do as a result of reading your blog post.
Xulosada yangi bir narsa qo'shmaysiz bu qismda, ya'ni bu yerda siz umumiy hamma yuqorida bildirilgan fikrlarni jamlagan holda qandaydir bir harakatga chaqiriqni qo'shib qo'yasiz.
And if you want some interaction in your post, if you want comments, make sure to add a question at the end to encourage some conversation.
Agar odamlarni sizni postingizga javob berishlarini xohlasangiz, harakat qilinglar savol qo'yishga oxirida. Va bu savolga odamlarni javob berishi sizga ularni jalb qilgan bo'lasiz shu bilan.
So, can anyone tell me when do you think it's best to publish on LinkedIn?
Endi sizlarga bitta savol. LinkedInda qaysi vaqtda publikatsiya qilish yaxshi hisoblanadi? Qaysi vaqtda? Hafta kunlari, in terms of weekdays and hours, yes.
Yes, even the day.
Masalan, hafta kunlari yoki qaysi soatda publikatsiya qilganingiz, bosma qilganingiz yaxshi?
In the afternoon after lunch. Maybe.
Tushlikdan keyin, obed paytidan keyin javob berdilar. Qolganlar qanday fikrda? Qaysi vaqt yaxshi vaqt hisoblanadi LinkedInda o'zingizlarni maqolalar chop etish uchun? Evening, at the evening.
Okay.
Dilzodaxon.
Morning. Okay.
Morning.
A few different ones going in. Nice. Okay. Okay, I will tell you.
Weekend, Saturday, Sunday also.
Good, all good guesses. So this is basically a graph of the LinkedIn global engagement. So you can see the very dark blue is the most popular times to post.
Endi bu sizlarga mana jadvaldan ko'rinib turibdiki, bu LinkedInni xalqaro bo'limidan olingan statistik ma'lumot, ya'ni hafta kunlarini o'rtasida eng to'q rangli ko'k kvadratiklar, to'rtburchak shakllar, o'sha vaqtlar yaxshi deb belgilanyapti statistik ma'lumotlarga ko'ra. Ya'ni bu haftani o'rtasida va kunni o'rta qismida deb aytilyapti.
You can see here on the chart that the Wednesdays and Thursdays around lunchtime, well, about mid-morning to early afternoon are the most popular times to post.
Jadvaldan ko'rib turganlardek, masalan, seshanba kundan juma kungacha soat ertalabki 6-7 va kechki payt 4-5 gacha eng yaxshi payt desak bo'lar ekan.
For a LinkedIn article, just to let you know that the ideal length is 1,000 words maximum. So don't have it too long.
Endi LinkedIn haqidagi gapiradigan bo'lsak, eng maqolamizni hajm jihatdan yaxshi shakli bu 1000 ta so'zdan oshmagan maqola ekan.
These are just some reminders. Remember to be authentic and honest. Include videos and images. Write for busy people. So people who are especially on LinkedIn will be very busy. So it's important to write content that they can consume easily.
Shu narsalarga e'tibor berasizlar, kichik bir eslatmalar, ya'ni haqqoniy bo'linglar va video va ko'rgazmalarni qo'shishga harakat qilinglar. Shuni ham bilinglarki, sizlar LinkedInda juda ham band bo'lgan insonlarga ma'lumot ulashyapsizlar. Shuning uchun ularni vaqtini qadrlashga va oson tushunarli qilib yetkazishga harakat qilinglar mavzularingizni.
It's important to tell and then show. So tell your audience about something and then show them the backup or the examples that prove your point.
Shu narsaga e'tibor beringlarki, siz oldin nimadir haqida gapirib turib, keyin unga misol keltiringlar. Misol bilan qandaydir isbotlanglar.
And lastly, it's important to promote your content. So make sure that you are posting about it on other social media platforms to get the word out there and draw people to your content.
Shunga ham e'tibor beringlar, boshqa ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda ham siz o'sha ma'lumotingizni ulashib turib, u yerdagi odamlarni ta'sirlarini ham bu yerda ko'rsatib o'tishingiz mumkin, ulashingiz mumkin.
So these are a couple of ways to beat the LinkedIn algorithm, which is the way that LinkedIn decides what content is shown to more people.
LinkedInda algoritmini buzishni usullaridan biri bu qaysi kontentni, qaysi mavzudagilarni sizni ko'rsatish qobiliyati.
It's really important to be relevant. So make sure that you are checking out what is trending at the moment and see if there's a way that you can talk about that.
Ya'ni mavzuga aloqador narsalar haqida gapirishga harakat qilinglar, qandaydir bir mavzu atrofida.
Promote your posts the right way. So depending on what you're talking about, it's important to decide what social media to promote it on.
To'g'ri mazmundagi narsalar haqida gapirishga harakat qilinglar. Ya'ni qaysi ijtimoiy tarmoqda faoliyat yuritishingizga harakat qilinglar, chunki bularning hammasini nimasi boshqa yo'nalishlari bir-biridan farq qiladi.
Encourage engagement on your content by asking questions and by replying to any comments that you might get.
Shunga harakat qilinglarki, insonlarni bir-biri bilan muloqotga kirishishiga va siz chop etgan maqola bilan qandaydir bog'lanishiga jalb qilinglar.
Remember to go niche. So make sure that you're talking about a very specific topic, which is easier to talk about than a very broad and general topic.
Shunga e'tibor beringlarki, qandaydir bir ma'lum kichik doiradagi mavzu haqida gapirgan kengroq mavzudagi maqoladan osonroq bo'ladi. Chunki kichik narsani yoritib berishingiz osonroq.
LinkedIn provides a really effective analytics tool where you can see how many people have viewed your posts, who liked it and who commented on it, and who those people are, so where they might be working and things like that. So it's important to look at those to identify who your audience is and what kind of content they prefer to see going forward.
LinkedInda shu narsaga e'tibor beringlarki, shunaqa nimasi bor, xususiyati sizni eshituvchilaringiz, auditoriyangiz reaksiyasini sizga ko'rsatib bera oladi, taqdim bera oladi. Ya'ni ular nimani yoqtirishyapti, qaysi mavzuga qanday ta'sir bildirishyapti, ta'sirini bildirishyapti. Shunga asoslangan holda siz o'zingizning mavzuyingizni keyingilarni shakllantirib borishingiz mumkin, shu analitikaga, ya'ni bog'langan holda.
And here is an optional challenge that I would encourage you to do in the next few months. It would be great to write a blog post about something you're passionate about and post it to LinkedIn or social media. I think it would be interesting to see what you're interested in, and it would be good to get it out there and share it with your audience.
Sizlarga bu ixtiyoriy, sizlarga bir mashg'ulot. Ya'ni xohlagan insonlar buni amalga oshirib ko'rishi mumkin, lekin foyda qilib ko'rsanglar juda ham yaxshi bo'ladi sizlarga. Ya'ni o'rgangan narsalarni amalda qo'llash imkoniyatini beradi. Kichkina bir blog postni yozib, uni LinkedInda yoki boshqa ijtimoiy tarmoqda chop etib ko'ringlar va odamlarni siz, ya'ni o'zingiz qiziqqan mavzuda va odamlarni ta'sirini ham o'rganib ko'ringlar. Shunga asoslangan holda.
So social media, so Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, who uses this? Anyone on any of those sites?
Kim ijtimoiy tarmoqlarni qo'llaydi? Sizlarga savolimiz. Ya'ni Instagram, Facebook, Twitter va shunga o'xshash ijtimoiy tarmoqlarni qo'llaysizlarmi va qaysi biridan ko'proq foydalanasizlar?
LinkedIn and Facebook. Yes, we have some ticks here. Great. Telegram. Yes, Facebook. Okay. Great. Okay. So Instagram. There is Instagram. Okay, great. A few people are using Instagram. So here are some tips. Here are some tips for using Instagram. It's important to post consistently, so make sure there are no gaps between when you're posting. Tell stories and don't be instructing people. Tell stories instead of that. Build a strong brand around what your content is. Have a visually consistent feed, so don't make the quality of the photos different. Make sure they're the same. Well, I can let you translate.
Endi hozir sizlar bilan Instagram postlari haqida biroz gaplashamiz. Ya'ni bu yerda chop etayotganda harakat qilinglar, bir xil vaqt oralig'ida davomiylik bilan chop etishga. Ya'ni bitta chop etib qo'yib, undan keyin to'xtab qolsanglar, odamlar qiziqmay qoladi shu yoritayotgan mavzuyingizda. Keyin odamlarga nasihat qilayotgandaqa emas, ya'ni hikoya tarzida qilib beringlar ma'lumotni. Chunki nasihat qilgan tarzdagi maqolalar zerikarli hisoblanadi. Qiziqarli hikoyalar bilan ularni jalb qilinglar. Bundan tashqari kuchli brend yaratishga harakat qilinglar. Ya'ni har bitta chop etgan mavzuyingiz bir xil ko'rinishda, qandaydir bir xil dizaynda, chiroyli, bir-biri bilan hamohang bo'lishi kerak. Chiroyli ko'rinishi kerak. Yana berayotgan mavzularingizni ko'rinish ham ko'zga yoqadigan bo'lishi kerak. Insonni ko'zini quvontiradigan bo'lishi kerak.
It's important to use the right hashtags to make sure that people find you, find your content. Focus on user-generated content, so authentic content that you make yourself, like homemade videos or things like that. And explore the full range of the video formats that are available on Instagram to mix up what you're publishing.
Shunga e'tibor beringlarki, to'g'ri hashtaglarni ishlatgan bo'lishlar kerak. Ya'ni o'sha hashtaglar orqali sizni boshqa ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda ham, boshqa joylarda ham ma'lumotingizni topa olishlari kerak. Undan keyin insonlarga, ya'ni foydalanuvchilarga moslashtirilgan, ularni kuchaytiruvchi ma'lumotlarni berishga harakat qilinglar. Undan keyin turli xil video formatlarni Instagram orqali ko'rib chiqinglar. Odamlar uni boshqalar qanday qilyapti va siz ham o'zingizga qanday bir video shaklini, formatini o'ylab toping.
This is the best time to post on Instagram. So it's Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And the worst day is Sunday.
Endi Instagramda postlar qilish uchun eng yaxshi vaqtlar bular. Bu seshanba, chorshanba va payshanba kunlari. Ya'ni seshanba kuni birdan kechki paytgacha 5 gacha, chorshanba kuni 11 atrofida va payshanba kuni 8 dan 9 gacha ertalabki vaqtni ko'rsatilyapti. Eng yomon kun Instagram uchun bu yakshanba kuni deb aytilyapti.
So Twitter. These are some tips for using Twitter and for getting effective content on Twitter. So limit your hashtags, make sure there's only 1 to 2 per tweet. Create a conversation, keep your text very short, use images or videos when possible, and test to see what's effective with your audience, and then monitor the trending conversations so that you can get included in those.
Endi Twitter haqida gaplashsak, sizlar bilan hashtaglaringlarni bitta ikkita qilib cheklashga harakat qilinglar, undan oshib ketmasin har bitta tweet uchun va suhbatga chorlovchi bo'lish kerak bu albatta va sizni tekstlaringiz kichkinagina va yoqimli bo'lishi kerak. Harakat qilinglar rasmlarni, turli xil kichik videolarni nima qilishga, qo'shishga. Undan tashqari sininglar va qayta sininglar. Ya'ni bularni odamlar qanday qilib qabul qilyapti, unga qanday javob beryapti, shularni kuzatib borishga harakat qilinglar. Turli xil voqealarni kuzatishga harakat qilinglar va qaysi mavzularda odamlar ko'proq shug'ullanayotganini e'tiborga beringlar. Yelena is writing in the chat group that Twitter unfortunately is still blocked here. We can use it only with VPN.
Okay.
That's why not all people know. Use that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, we can move on to Facebook. I'm not sure if Facebook is the same.
No, most people use Facebook.
Okay, great. Okay, so I will move on to Facebook. So these are some tips for maximum Facebook engagement. Post at the ideal frequency, so make sure that you test to understand how often you should be posting. Schedule your posts ahead of time, which is a great way of being organized with your content. Add a call to action at the end to make sure that your audience knows what to take out of your content. Balance your promotion, so make sure that you're not posting too much to promote your content, but just enough. Use a consistent tone when you're speaking to create a brand tone or to create your own personal tone. Have more shorter posts to be more effective, and make sure that they are getting across a clear message.
Endi sizlarga Facebook bo'yicha gaplashamiz. Bu Facebookda ham xuddi boshqa ijtimoiy tarmoqlarga o'xshash bir necha foydali maslahatlar bor ekan. Ya'ni bular siz qanchalik vaqt mobaynida chop etayotganligingizga e'tibor bering. Ya'ni bir xil vaqt oralig'ida bo'lsa shunchalik yaxshi. Chop etayotgan narsalaringizni oldindan rejalashtiring. Nimani qachon qilmoqchiligingizni. Va albatta oxirida qandaydir bir harakatga chaqiradigan gaplarni qo'shsanglar yaxshi bo'ladi. Shundan tashqari o'zingizni targ'ibotingizni muvozanatda ushlab turishga harakat qilinglar. Chunki ba'zilar ortiqchalik ko'ngilga tegib boradigan tarzda ko'p chop etib boradilar va qandaydir zerikarli bo'lib qoladi. Bundan iloji boricha uzoq bo'linglar. Shundan tashqari sizni o'zingizni qandaydir bir o'zingizga yarasha jihatingiz bo'lishi kerak. Ya'ni brendingiz bo'lishi kerak. Yozayotgan maqolalaringizda, bildirayotgan fikrlaringizda, ya'ni qandaydir bir xil o'ziga xos, o'zgacha nimaga ega bo'lishi kerak, xususiyatga. Bundan tashqari kichik postlarga ham e'tibor beringlar va berayotgan mavzularingiz, fikrlaringiz qisqa va tushunarli, aniq bo'lishi kerak.
So for Facebook, the best times to post are Wednesday at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. And the overall best day to post at any time is Wednesday. So you'll get the most consistent engagement generally on weekdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the worst day is Sunday, as there'll be low engagement that day.
Facebookda ham o'ziga yarasha odamlarni ko'proq foydalanadigan payti bor ekan. Bu chorshanba kuni soat 11 dan soat 1 gacha obeddagi bo'lgan payt eng yaxshi payt hisoblanar ekan. Shu paytda chop etsangiz ko'proq odamlar sizga e'tibor berar ekan va hafta kunlari ertalabki 9 dan kechki paytgacha bo'lgan vaqt oralig'ida ham ko'pchilik sizni postingizga reaksiya bildirib, ya'ni e'tibor qaratishi mumkin va albatta eng yomon kunlar bu shanba, yakshanba dam olish kunlari deb aytilyapti. E'tibordan chetda qolish mumkin bu kunlarda chop etilgan postlar.
And brings me to the end of my presentation. So I want to thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about how you can kind of use social media to to get the best out of it that you can. And I'd like to encourage or ask any questions that you might have. I'd be happy to answer them.
Sizlar rahmat sizlarga bugungi darsimizda eshitib o'tirganlar uchun va qandaydir savollar paydo bo'lgan bo'lsa bemalol so'rashinglar mumkin.
Stop sharing.
Thank you. Eva, may I start with the question while our colleagues are preparing? We have many startup founders here, and for them, it's for many of them, it's always a challenge. Like it's many of people consider social media like not a waste of time, but I better focus on my product. I will be working. I have a lot of things to do, like in production. I don't know, with staff and everything, with sales. But then just what we understand that it's necessary to do it. But do you have any advice, like maybe how to manage, not manage the time, but maybe to hire someone or to like find a specific time in the day to do it, no matter what? I don't know.
Yes, sure. That's a great question. I'm going to type a website into the chat. So basically, I would agree with you. I think that it is obviously very important to focus on the product, but I think that there's no point in having a product that if no one knows about it, right? So, so social media is a great way of getting the word out there, to a very vast audience. In terms of managing your time so that you can kind of create posts and schedule and have them regularly online, there's content scheduling software. There's a website called Hootsuite that I just put into the chat, and that can help you to schedule posts. So you can take maybe an hour on a Sunday and create some posts, schedule them for the week, and then that's 1 hour of time per week that you've spent on that, rather than every day posting something from scratch.
Juda ham yaxshi sizlarga aloqador mavzu savol berdilar. Ya'ni bizni ko'pchilik tadbirkorlarimiz aytishadiki, bir narsalarni chop etgandan ko'ra o'zimizni mahsulotimiz haqida, mahsulotimizni yaratishga, u bilan shug'ullanishga, haqiqiy hayotda ko'proq e'tibor berganimiz yaxshi degan fikrda bo'ladi ko'pchilik. Bunga javob beryaptilarki, agar mahsulotingiz haqida hech kim bilmasa, hech kim ma'lumotga ega bo'lmasa, qanday qilib uni sotilishi, uni odamlar tarqalishi amalga oshadi degan javob bilan aytdilar va shunga e'tibor beringlarki deb maslahat beryaptilarki, haftani o'rtasida 1 soatgina vaqtinglarni sarflagan holda kichik post bilan o'zingizni mahsulotingiz, qilayotgan ishlaringiz va biznesingiz haqida odamlarga ma'lumot berib turing. Va bu bilan e'tiborni jalb qilib, o'zingizni marketing nimangizni qo'llagan bo'lasiz, sotishni rag'batlantirgan bo'lasiz. Juda ham yaxshi sayt bilan ulashdilar, hootsuite.com degan. Buni hammanglar kirib ko'ringlar. Bu shu sizlarga tadbirkorlar uchun juda ham foydali resurs bo'ladi degan umiddamiz.
Is there any other questions?
Savollar bormi mavzu bo'yicha?
You know, I also heard that today it's not, it's very difficult to promote without like paid advertising. I mean, do you think it's possible to create like and build your brand without paying to social media platforms? Because obviously you need it when you need to like boost your post, but just general like for the startups, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the clever use of hashtags is important. So hashtags are going to make your audience way bigger and you'll be found easier. I also think if you know anybody with a bigger following, you could always ask them to reshare your posts. That will reach a much wider audience. And there are 2 ways that are kind of free ways of boosting your engagement.
Juda yana qiziq, sizlarga yaxshi savol bo'ldi. Ya'ni tadbirkorlar, yangi ishini boshlayotgan tadbirkorlar reklamaga pul ishlatgisi kelmaydi. Endi ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda ular berayotgan postlar ko'proq auditoriyani jalb qilish uchun ular pullik reklamadan foydalanishlari kerak bo'ladi. Ya'ni uni Facebookga yoki masalan Instagramlarga to'lagan holda auditoriyani jalb qilish. Lekin qanday qilib bepul holda ham bu narsaga erishish mumkin degan savolga javoblari 2 xil usuldan aytib o'tdilar. Ya'ni birinchisi bu hashtag orqali post qilish. Hashtag orqali post qilganingizda sizni topib olishlari mumkin. Boshqa siz tanimagan, sizni aloqa guruhingizga kirmagan insonlar ham sizni mavzungiz haqida ma'lumotga ega bo'lishi mumkin. Va ikkinchi usul, siz tanigan insonlardan buni ulashinglar deb so'rashingiz mumkin. Tekstingiz oxirida iltimos tarqatib olinglar yoki iltimos ulashinglar desangiz, shunda mavzungiz ko'proq insonlarga yetib boradi. Shu 2 usul orqali siz xarajat qilmagan holda, bepul holda reklamani tashkil qilishingiz mumkin ijtimoiy tarmoqlarda.
Great. I'm not sure if that's a comment or a question in the chat that has just come.
Yeah, they're writing that it's clear everything. Then thank you.
Great. Any other questions?
Savollar bormi yana?
Okay. In that case, I will finish up and I will hand you back to Elena. Thank you so much, and thank you, Barno, as well.
Thank you too. It was really interesting for me at the moment.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Actually, oh, sorry. I actually might have one question as well, if that's okay. So would you recommend to send out many friend requests on either Facebook or LinkedIn as well to broaden your network as well, so that more people might see your content and engage with it?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think it's basically if you have or even if you know a page that is very similar to your content, I think it's good to kind of look at the followers of those and even try and add some of those people, and then try and use the kind of the hashtags or the interests on Facebook to see who's interested in your same interests and add them as well. So yeah, I think that's great to build your following a bit more naturally as well. I think that's a great idea.
Odamlar bilan aloqada bo'lish uchun, can you a little bit repeat the question? Sorry.
If it's a good idea and if it's recommended to send out friend requests and following requests to broaden your network.
Masalan, nimalarni iltimoslarni jo'natish yaxshi fikr deb aytib o'tdilar. Ya'ni bularni keng tanishlar orqali tarqatish usulini misol keltirdilar va buni LinkedInda, Facebookda amalga oshirish mumkin, boshqa ham nimalarda, tarmoqlarda deb aytyaptilar.
Thank you, Eva, for the practical workshop. I think the main like assignment that all of us should do it is to start using it like in every day. It's one of the rare workshop that you can use everything just like right after it. I mean, we so both in personal and in professional social media. So thank you once again. If you're okay, we can make a final photo with participants with cameras on. Пожалуйста, можете включить камеры, у кого получится? Мы сделаем фото финальное.
Iltimos, hamma kameralarni yoqib qo'ysanglar, rasmga olamiz.
Thank you. I'm just one moment. So I'm doing the photo. Just so thank you once again for the workshop today. We will be watching all the social media of the participants. Hope it will get better. It definitely will get better. Karina, thank you for organization. Barnov, as usual, for translation. Everyone have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and thanks, Karina, as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you. Hammaga rahmat qatnashganlar uchun. Yaxshi dam olinglar.